Part 1. Watching The Big Short, I will feel a profound sadness. It's a story that will clearly depict the downfall of folks who will forget to live on less than they make. High-risk bets, ignorance, and greed will lead to a financial tsunami. Will The Big Short be a happy story? No, it will be a sad one. Will the movie depict the downfall of individuals who will live beyond their means? Yes, it certainly will. Will cautious investments and wisdom lead to the financial tsunami in the movie? No, risky bets and ignorance will. Will the movie evoke profound sadness or immense joy? It'll bring sadness, not joy. Will the film be about people who forget to live on less than they make or individuals who will manage their finances wisely? It'll focus on those who overspend, not the financially wise. Will the financial crisis be caused by high-risk bets and ignorance, or by cautious and educated decisions? The crisis will stem from risky bets and ignorance, not caution or knowledge. Will the movie story be marked by greed or generosity? It'll be about greed, not generosity. What will be the narrator's emotional response to watching The Big Short? The narrator will feel quite sad. Who will the movie depict the downfall of? It'll show the downfall of people overspending. What will lead to the financial tsunami in the movie? Risky bets, ignorance, and greed will cause it. What financial principle will the characters in the movie forget to follow? They'll overlook the principle of living within their means.
Part 2. This event will be a stark contrast to the baby steps I will have taught for years. The simple principles of financial management will be neglected, and that will lead to the financial crisis. Will the event depicted in the movie be in line with the baby steps principles? No, it'll be quite the contrast. Will the principles of financial management be adhered to in the situation leading to the financial crisis? No, they'll be neglected. Will the narrator have been teaching the baby steps for years? Yes, for many years. Will the event be a stark contrast or a perfect reflection of the baby steps principles? It'll be a contrast, not a reflection. Will neglecting or following the principles of financial management lead to the financial crisis? Neglecting them will. Will the narrator have been teaching the baby steps for years or just started recently? They'll have been at it for years. Will adhering to or neglecting simple principles lead to the crisis? Neglecting them will cause it. What will the event in the movie be contrasted with? With the baby steps principles? What will lead to the financial crisis according to the narrator? Ignoring basic financial principles will. How long will the narrator have been teaching the baby steps? For several years. Which principles will be neglected that will lead to the financial crisis? The simple principles of financial management.
Part 3. The protagonists of the movie will be oddball investors, contrary thinkers. They will see the cracks forming in the economy. Will the protagonists of the movie be conventional thinkers? No, they'll be contrary thinkers. Will the protagonists notice the impending economic crisis? Yes, they'll spot the cracks. Will the protagonists be portrayed as ordinary investors? Nope, they'll be anything but ordinary. Will the protagonists be depicted as oddball or conventional investors? They'll be oddballs. Will the protagonists be contrary or agreeable thinkers? They'll be contrary thinkers, not agreeable. Will the protagonists overlook or see the cracks forming in the economy? They'll see the cracks, no overlooking. Will the protagonists be typical or unusual investors? They'll be unusual, far from typical. Who will be the protagonists of the movie? Oddball investors and contrary thinkers. What will the protagonists notice about the economy? They'll see it starting to crack. What kind of thinkers will the protagonists of the movie be? They'll be contrary thinkers. How will the investors in the movie be portrayed? As oddballs, not your typical investors.
Part 4. Rather than getting paralyzed by the analysis, they will take a bold step and bet against the economy. In some ways, it can be likened to baby step 1, setting aside an emergency fund, but in this context, it will be more of a gamble against the financial system. Will the protagonists become paralyzed by the analysis? No, they'll go bold and bet against the economy. Will they bet against the economy? Yeah, they'll take the plunge. Can their actions be likened to baby step 1 in some ways? Yes, in a way, it can be. Will the protagonists get paralyzed by the analysis or take a bold step? They'll be bold, no paralysis. Will they bet for or against the economy? They're betting against it. Will they set aside an emergency fund or gamble against the financial system? They'll gamble against the system. Will they be cautious or bold in their actions? They'll be bold, no doubt. What will the protagonists do instead of becoming paralyzed by the analysis? They'll take a bold step, betting against the economy. What can their actions be likened to in the future? It's like baby step 1, setting aside an emergency fund. What will the protagonists bet against? The economy. How will the movie relate their actions to baby step 1? Their bold bet might be likened to setting aside an emergency fund, but it's a gamble.
Part 5. These investors will then follow a path that can be compared to baby step 2, the debt snowball principle. Profits will start to come in slowly, then swell up as the housing market will collapse. Will the investors follow a path similar to baby step 2? Yes, they'll be on something like baby step 2. Will the profits come in quickly? No, they'll start slow and build up. Will the housing market collapse? Yes, and that's when their profits will really pick up. Will the investors follow a path that can be compared to baby step 1 or baby step 2? They'll be on a path like baby step 2. Will profits come in slowly or rapidly at first? They'll start slow. Will the housing market flourish or collapse in the movie? It's going to collapse. Will the profits be minuscule or swelling as the housing market collapses? They'll start small, then balloon as the market falls. What path will the investors follow that can be compared to baby step 2? They'll be taking steps that remind us of baby step 2. How will the profits come in for these investors? Slow at first, then they'll really build up. What will happen to the housing market in the movie? It's going to fall apart. How will the collapse of the housing market affect the profits? As the market crashes, the profits will soar.
Part 6. Contrary to the teaching of living a debt-free life, one of the characters in the movie, a dancer, will be swamped with debt, owning multiple homes she won't be able to afford. It's like trying to sell the stupid boat, getting rid of unnecessary debts, but in this case, she will be entirely engulfed in them. Will the dancer live a debt-free life? No, she's going to be drowning in debt. Will the dancer own multiple homes she can afford? No, she'll own homes she can't afford. Will the dancer be successful in getting rid of her unnecessary debts? No, she'll be totally swallowed up by her debts. Will the dancer be debt-free or swamped with debt? She's going to be swamped with debt. Will the dancer own homes she can afford or can't afford? She'll have homes she can't afford. Will the dancer's situation be like successfully selling the stupid boat or failing to get rid of unnecessary debts? She's going to be failing to get rid of her debts. Will the dancer be slightly or entirely engulfed in her debts? She'll be entirely engulfed in her debts. What will be the dancer's financial situation in the movie? She'll be in deep debt, with multiple homes she can't afford. How will the narrator describe the dancer's situation? It'll be like she's trying to sell off her debts, but just sinking deeper. What kind of life will the dancer be living contrary to? She'll be living opposite of a debt-free life. How involved will the dancer be with her debts? She'll be completely overwhelmed by them.
Part 7. The investors will prepare themselves for the storm. With their version of Baby Step 3, an emergency fund, they will brace for the economic downturn. After the collapse, they will emerge as winners, but at a considerable societal cost. They will be at ground zero, ready to build wealth, but standing on shaky moral grounds. Will the investors be ready for the financial storm? Yes, they will be prepared for the storm. Will they have an emergency fund to withstand the economic downturn? Yes, they will have an emergency fund ready. Will they end up losers after the collapse? No, they will actually come out as winners. Will the investors be prepared or caught off guard for the storm? They will be prepared for it, not caught off guard. Will the investors have an emergency fund or be without a financial safety net? They will have their own version of an emergency fund. After the collapse, will they emerge as winners or losers? They will emerge as winners, not losers. Will the investors be ready to build wealth or lose everything? They will be ready to build wealth. How will the investors prepare for the storm? They will prepare by setting up their version of Baby Step 3, an emergency fund. What will happen to the investors after the collapse? They will emerge as winners. Where will the investors be in terms of wealth creation after the collapse? They will be at ground zero, ready to build wealth. What will be the state of the investors' moral grounds as they prepare to build wealth? They will be standing on shaky moral grounds as they build wealth.
Part 8. In conclusion, The Big Short will serve as a chilling reminder of the importance of financial literacy. It will show how straying from simple principles, like living within your means, will lead to disastrous consequences. Will The Big Short highlight the importance of financial literacy? Indeed, The Big Short will be a chilling eye-opener about the importance of financial literacy. Can straying away from simple financial principles lead to disastrous consequences in the future? Yes, going off course from basics like living within your means will spell disaster. Is The Big Short going to be a light-hearted comedy about financial management? No, not at all. The Big Short will be a serious reminder of the importance of financial literacy. Will The Big Short serve as a chilling reminder of financial literacy, or show a careless disregard for it? The Big Short will definitely serve as a stern reminder of the importance of financial literacy. Will the movie show the benefits of straying from financial principles, or the disastrous consequences of such actions? The movie will portray the destructive consequences of ignoring financial principles. Will the movie be a light-hearted comedy, or a stark reminder of the importance of living within one's means? The Big Short will be a grave reminder of the importance of living within your means, no comedy about it. Will the movie convey a message of careful financial management, or promote reckless spending? The movie will be all about the importance of careful financial management. What will The Big Short serve as a reminder of? The Big Short will stand as a strong reminder of why financial literacy matters. What consequences will the movie show as a result of straying away from simple financial principles? The movie will demonstrate the catastrophic results.